the comedy is the beneficiary of the internet in ways that, I think probably better than most other industry. You can be nobody one day, and then the next day you hawk Tuah. And
Oh, Lord. That's
What's up? The OGs are back, and we are on the road, Wildn Out, with our boy Chico. Appreciate you coming.
I ain't never heard it said like that.
you don't put the pause. You don't put the D in it. It's Wildn Out.
Yeah,
Not wild, not wild. Wildn Out.
Pause again.
Wildn Out.
Forget
Yes.
the D. He put the Klansman in that one. Wildn Out. That's what you perform on, ain't it?
Hey.
Man, I'm happy to be here with y'all. Y'all, man, it's an honor to be here with two, what I consider to be legendary figures, man, in the sports world, man. So, thank you for having me. I appreciate y'all.
I'm gonna start it off by reintroducing you.
Okay.
Okay, here we go.
Anthony Jamal
Oh my God.
Bean.
Come on, man. How did you?
I had to figure out what the hell Chico was because you're not Hispanic.
No, I'm not.
So when Chico, where I'm from, Miami, we say Chico, we talking about
the Hispanics.
the Hispanics.
Okay. All right.
Where Chico Bean came from?
Chico
Anthony.
Bean is, you know what? If you wasn't Udonis Haslem, I'd get on you right now. But I know better. You know what I mean? I know your reputation, so I'm a chill. I don't think Mike can help me. But
you got me with the Udonis because don't nobody call me that but my
oh
mom.
yeah, well
So
you just called me Anthony.
We
So
even.
hello,
We even.
Udonis.
We
That's
even.
what we doing the whole show. Michael and Udonis, we are here.
Anthony and Udonis today.
But no, Chico was a nickname from childhood. When I was making my Twitter, I'm putting all my names in that I go, Bean is my real last name, so I'm putting the names in, and it's like the name is already taken. I'm like, man, I must already got a Twitter, all these names taken. And my man B-Dot was like, man, you need to make a name that's creative, that's unique. So Chico was a childhood nickname. My uncles, was in the streets. I lost my father at a very young age. So my uncles was like my father figures in my life, and they would get dressed to go to the club and put on their ostrich loafers and their Versace short sets and all that in the city.
Versace short sets.
Yeah. And I would, put on my little Oshkosh Bigosh with the basketball or the football and my penny loafers. And then they'd call me Little Chico because they say I look like a little Spanish boy at the laundromat. So they would call me, true story. So when I was making my Twitter, I was like, you know what? Chico is a childhood nickname. They used to call me Little Chico. So Chico Bean, that's where it came from.
Okay, for all you people at home, we got to translate. When he say his uncles was in the streets, he don't mean literally standing in the damn streets.
Oh, no.
They were hustling.
What type
They
of
were
fan
getting to
base
the
y'all
money.
got that you got to explain
We
that?
got,
Goodness
everybody
gracious.
ain't there yet, dog. And when he say they wasn't standing in the streets barefoot, they was hustling, getting to the money.
He's speaking for our South Dakota fans.
Oh, the South Dakota fan base, man.
I didn't want to say that.
I
but
just
I want to
just
say that,
found
but I'm
out
talking to the
that
others.
you
He
from
was
South
in the street.
Dakota,
They were getting
like,
the money.
That's one of the most obscure places in the country, man. Like, you know what I mean? I'm sure you probably were the best basketball player in the history of South Dakota. I think you probably got that, right?
Hell yeah. I seen his team in high school.
Oh, for real?
Man, listen.
Chico, you started something.
When they talk about a unicorn,
Mm-hmm.
that's the first time I seen one.
Word.
Hell, they always talk about white boys like a hoop, but I never seen them. I'm from Miami. We had
Right.
black, Hispanic. That's
Right.
all we had. I seen this hoop. It was a white boy about 6'8". He rebounded and outletted it to himself.
Goodness
He
gracious.
shot it. He set a screen for himself and pick and roll and shot it off the pick and roll. He passed it to the road man, which was himself. He did everything. Did not know he was going to be my college roommate. But when I got back to Miami, I told everybody I seen the next mother Larry Bird. This mother
Oh,
go.
my goodness.
So to your point, he probably is the only basketball
The only
player
basketball player.
that's going to come out. Well, he got kids, but
I
they ain't
mean,
from South
yeah,
Dakota.
they
But he
ain't
probably
from South
about it.
Dakota, yeah.
That's about it.
They
There
said
ain't
it
nothing
was-
else coming out of South Dakota. I'm just being honest.
Can we move
What was
on
the
to
name of
something?
the What was the name of the high school team you played for?
Mitchell Colonels.
Mitchell Colonels, yeah. That's what it is. That's how he introduced it, like the David Ruffin. I am Mike Miller, and these are the Colonels.
Man, listen, that is
For
one of my
sure.
favorite movies. By the way, people at home, he is talking about the Temptations. If you
Goodness
don't know,
gracious.
I got to translate all this. We got a diverse fan base.
Oh, well, I'd
He's
like to
talking about
see
the
that.
Temptations when Michael Ruffin came in and they was already
David
on the
Ruffin,
stage.
you didn't-
David Ruffin. They was out. Michael is his brother.
Mm-hmm.
Michael is his brother. When they was performing on the stage at the Copacabana, and that man came in, he cut that song up to.
Oh yeah, he did. I am
He did his
David
thing.
Ruffin, and these are the Temptations. There you go, man.
We did do a bad job of introducing though, because we didn't talk about the 85 South show, which is elite.
Yeah, thank
It
you,
is.
man. Thank
It
you.
is. I love what y'all doing.
Thank you, man. I know you probably don't even remember this, Udonis. I ran at the airport years ago. You probably don't even remember this. You was walking through the airport. This was when the 85 South show, like when we first got to rolling. And you told me in the airport, he was like, man, I'm a fan of y'all. You stopped me. And I was, oh my God, that's UD. And he was like, man, I'm a fan of y'all boys. Keep pushing. So to be here now, man, I appreciate you.
I think
we all
what was it, in
appreciate
Atlanta?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I remember that.
We was in
I remember
Atlanta.
that.
And but the 85 South show, man, it's just, like that unicorn you was talking about, we had no idea that it was going to take on the life that it took on, because we naturally do that. Like, we really brothers, we really partners. This is what we do when the cameras is off. So for it to grow the way that it grew, just authentically, I think that's why it's so, embraced by the culture, because you can see that it's literally authentic, and we let the people in on the process of us coming up from the bottom to where we are now. So, and they see that, it's infiltrated into the culture in the way that it has, to where people like y'all are fans of it, man. It's a blessing.
And a fan base where Udonis has got to explain it to.
Yeah, yeah. Oh well.
No, that fan base speak my language.
Yeah.
Oh, that fan base speak my language, killer.
Yeah, he ain't got to explain nothing to
I'm
us.
saying it's trickling into the fan base where you got to explain to.
Oh,
them.
yeah.
That's all.
Well, just know, if y'all watch it, the fan base that he got to explain stuff to, just slow walk it. Do it like Game of Thrones, one at a time. Just start from the beginning and work your way up. Don't start in the middle. You're gonna be confused.
And you on tour right now?
Yes, I am on tour, man. That's what I'm doing out here in Vegas. I'm headlining at the Venetian Hotel. This is my 3rd year doing it. I started at the Mirage, and this is the first time at the Venetian, man. But it was fun, and as an entertainer, this is, I like to consider it like, this is like the All-Star game for entertainment. This is one of the meccas. When you come here, you get a residency here. You pretty much you good for as long as you want to be entertaining. So for me to be an entertainer that has reached a point where I can have my face on a billboard on the Vegas Strip is a blessing, man. Because where I come from, I'm not supposed to be doing nothing like this based on the odds. So I am ecstatic about being out here. And we on the 85 South show tour.
Okay.
We are getting ready to go to Detroit and Columbus. So we moving, man. We moving and grooving.
Man, we talk about everything that you're doing and that you're saying you're not supposed to be here, but Wildn Out, the beginning of it.
Yes,
like,
sir.
Where did it all start at for you? You know what I'm saying? And
You mean in totality or just Wildn Out?
Well, in totality first, because you're funny
Appreciate
naturally. You know what I'm saying? And then the Wildn Out. You know what I'm saying? We're going to take the steps, and then to the 85 South, because your Wildn Out family ended up being some of your brothers from your 85.
All the way.
You know what I'm saying? That
all the
family
way.
just continued
It
to translate.
continued to grow.
Yeah.
Well, I started doing comedy in North Carolina. I'm from Washington, D.C., born and raised in D.C.
Shout out D.C.
Yeah, and I went to
Wife, you know what I'm
college.
saying?
I went to college at Winston-Salem State University. And I went for radio, television, journalism. So I thought I was going to be a newscaster from what my internships and stuff on. So, but I went to get a job at the news station, and they told me I was going to be making $6.25 an hour part-time. And I was like, nah, I can't do that, because I didn't always got my own money. Like I said, my father was gone, so I was forced to be the man of I ain't gonna say forced, but I was required to be the man of my house very early, so I had to learn how to get my own money. I've always been very self-sufficient in that regard. So I said, well, if I'm gonna be poor and struggling, I'd much rather be poor and struggling, working my way towards building my own legacy than hoping somebody sees the value in me working for them. So my man Jerome was like, you should do comedy. I'm like, man, I like comedy. I ain't never told no jokes. But I was hosting everything in school at all my fraternity banquets and the step shows and all of that stuff. I was hosting all of that. So I don't have stage fright. So that's a big part of doing it. So he was like, you already get on stage, just try it out. It was an open mic night at the Greensboro Comedy Zone, which is like 30 minutes away from where I went to school. It was every first and second Thursday of the month. I went the first Thursday, watch everybody bomb. I said, well, if I can at least do this bad.
Yeah.
So I went back. I went back the next week and did 4 minutes. And when I got off stage, it just, one of those movie-like feelings. I was like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And I've been doing it ever since then. And as far as Wildn Out, somebody I went to school with named Dolly Bishop, who is now the vice president of the Black Effect Podcast Network with Charlamagne the God. We went to school together, and she was working with Nick at the time as an assistant. And that's my, I like to consider her one of my guardian angels on earth, because she just is, just has always been such a big, big, intricate part of my life in regards to my career, and vice versa, for both of us. But Nick was doing a Fresh Faces a comedy show where he was just trying to introduce new comics. And being as though we had the connection, she knew we were doing comedy down in North Carolina, the Freestyle Funny Comedy Show. We started an improv group, myself, Darren Big Baby Brand, B-Dot, Osama Been Drinking, who travels with me on the road now, and a gentleman named Burpee. So we were doing shows every third Sunday of the month, just, trying to hustle up something, because North Carolina isn't a hub for entertainment in that regard. So we kind of had to create the wave while trying to surf it at the same time, you know what I mean? So she knew we was doing that, and when Nick had the shows, she was like, you should come up here and do the show. So I went up and did the show at Gotham Comedy Club. Now, mind you, this is my first time ever doing a major comedy club at this time. I had only been doing comedy about a year and a half. So when I go in the club owner like, yeah, man, I don't know who you are. You can't say the N-word. You can't curse. And I was like, well, that's pretty much all I planned on doing. But my creative process has always been different. I don't really write stuff down. I kind of walk around and talk to myself to get it together. It's internal like that. So as I'm doing that, Nick sees me outside talking to myself. I guess he thought I was just some crazy outside talking to myself, which is understandable. But I went on stage and did my set about what had just happened to me within that time frame of me getting to the club and getting to New York. And when I came off stage, she was like, man, did you outside making that up? I'm like, yeah. He said, man, I'm around some of the best in the game. They can't do what you just did. Keep pushing. Fast forward almost 2 years later, I see a tweet on Twitter that Nick is looking for comedians to bring back Wildn Out. So I immediately hit Doll, like, Doll, is this real? She was like, yes, it's real. So I was like, whatever I got to do, let me know what I got to do. So he had an audition in North Carolina because he had a nationally syndicated radio show at the time. So he came to North Carolina just to do a mock audition. It was really just promo for the radio show, but me and my man B-Dot went. And when I went into the audition, he remembered me. He was like, oh, you that dude that was outside talking to you, did the comedy show? I was like, yeah, man. So I did the audition and killed it. And he was like, look, man, this ain't a real audition. I was just doing this just to promote the radio show. But the real audition is in New York. So get yourself to New York next week for the real audition. And at that time, I was, a different level of broke. Like it was, I'm talking about that sad broke. Like I didn't check my mailbox for so long. They thought I moved. I knew it wasn't nothing in there, man. Ain't nothing in there. They'd get it when I got it. I was at that stage. And so I was like, I got to get this plane ticket to go to New York. So I took some, and one thing I've always been into is fashion. I always dress nice. That's always been a mandatory thing for me just from the way I was brought up. So I took some clothes to a place called Plato's Closet where you can sell clothes. And I sold my clothes and got the ticket to go to New York. So I go to New York, I do the audition, kill that audition, and I made a joke about the fact that I had to sell my clothes to get up here. And then at the end, Nick was like, hey, man, you remember that joke you just made about selling your clothes? I was like, yeah. He said, I hope you got some more to sell because you got to get back to New York next week for another audition. I'm like, man. So I go back home. I'm living in an apartment complex, Plaza South. I can say that now because I'm far removed from it. But the rental office lady, Miss Lisa, was, cool with me. And I went to her and I said, man, I got a great opportunity. I need to buy another plane ticket, but I'm going to be late on my rent. If you can just give me, just a couple weeks, I promise I'd get it to you. Just please don't give me the late fee because I can't take another late fee.
Late fees.
Late fee is
rent,
like,
boy.
yeah, exactly. So she was like, you know what? Whatever you got going, I take care of it. You go ahead. I bought the plane ticket, went back, and that's when we did the group audition. Now, the group audition was everybody that you saw in that first inception of the reincarnation of the show. We were all together. So we all auditioned together. Myself, E-Man, Conceited, Los, all of the OGs now from the coming back when the show was brought back. And we did the group audition. Went back home. 2 weeks, didn't hear nothing. Got a call from Now Evans, who was the producer of the show, and was like, hey, man, I just wanted to call you and tell you, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to bring you in the workshop. Now, workshop is when they bring you in to see if you're going to be able to fit the structure of the show. Now, they bring people in it's kind of like Summer League or G League, where they bring people in to see if you're going to be able to go. So I'm thinking like, man, how the hell I'm going to explain this lady I ain't going to be able to pay the rent and I ain't make it. So she was like, yeah, so, we ain't going to be able to bring you in the workshop. So I'm like, man, I appreciate the opportunity. He was like, nah, welcome to the cast. Wildn Out, you made it.
Dang.
Yeah, so
a little bit.
I know it was totally unnecessary, man. He ain't even had to do me like that. No. So that was in 2012 going into 2013, I officially got laid off from my job in January. I think it was like January 11, which was like a Friday. That Monday, I flew out to shoot Wildn Out, and it's been up ever since.
Oh.
That's
Wasn't
unbelievable
unemployed
story.
that long.
Yeah.
That's an
Yeah.
unbelievable
Wasn't
story.
unemployed that long.
I mean, no, not at all. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, from that point, and I always explain to people when it come to the entertainment industry, I tell people getting on is just one part of the process. Like, getting on is one thing. I mean, you guys, I liken it to athletics because y'all understand you get like your rookie contract.
Yeah.
You got to play that out. You got to prove that you are worthy of, you know, getting some real money.
Yeah.
So our first season of Wildn Out, I got on Wildn Out in 2013. I really didn't start making money to where I'm like ahead of the game till like 2016 going into 2017. So it was almost a 4-year process of being on TV and still having to grind. You know what I mean? And that's what I think a lot of people get confused. They see you get on and think that immediately you're rich.
Goddamn. Not a lot of people. Our people.
Yeah, our people.
All right, no,
yeah.
a lot of.
No.
Just say what it is.
Yeah,
God
our
damn
people.
it, dog.
Let's explain that to
They swear
to his people.
Man, dog, I swear to God, boy. I don't know. My first contract, and I still remember to this day, my first contract was $400,000 the first year, $700,000 the second year. I know that sounds like a lot of money.
It's
I
not.
do, it gets.
Not what
But
Uncle
in the scheme
Sam.
of things, when you come from where I come from, and you got as many people to take care of that $400,000 gone before I even had it.
Yeah.
It was spent before
That
I
was
even
my
put it in
first
my pocket.
contract at Florida.
Yeah, you did. You was getting your money.
At
You
Florida?
was getting- what? Hey,
Time
listen.
out.
No.
Hold up.
No. He is not lying. He is not lying.
Time
no,
out.
No, he is not lying.
Time out.
The boy
You
been
had-
getting money.
No,
When I
had
say the
like
boy had his own
Chico,
money,
I knew
the
I
boy
had
had his
gas
own
in
money.
You don't know about
No. You had an NIL deal in 04? Like, how you pull that off, man?
Yeah, man.
You got no people.
All I know is it was a knock at the door.
No,
I ain't
not
hear
this
no
story.
words. I ain't hear no sound. I ain't hear nothing. We was roommates, and the man came back with money. I ain't say shit. I just say, listen, cut me in and cut it out.
Yeah,
I don't give a
I
fuck
was just about to
I don't
say-
give a- who gave it to
I'm
you.
about to say, you let him just come in there and get a bag, and you
And
just
the man,
sat there
listen,
and watched
and
it.
now that I know the percentage of the money I got, he f***ed me over. The
Yeah.
man had $1,500 and gave me $200. I was so
my
happy with that
God.
$200, Chico.
Oh,
I the man had done gave me a Lambo.
That man gave you $200.
And the man had the
out
other
of
1,300. He kept the other 1,300 in his
tipped
pocket.
you like a
Man,
pro. That's crazy, man. Yeah, here you go. He probably folded it up under and said, "Here, you take
that's how he
that."
did it. Hand it to me just like that.
Hand it to you
Hand
with
to me
two
just like
fingers.
that,
There you
yeah.
go, baby. There you take
appreciate
it. That's for you right there, man. God bless you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank
That's
you.
crazy,
Nice
man.
day shift.
Now, you know, I have to. I'm a fan, man. Like a sincere fan of you guys, and you know, I got so many questions just from a fan perspective. Like, you were talking before we started shooting about you having your own strain
Yes,
of,
sir.
of marijuana.
Yes,
And
sir.
salute to that.
Gas.
So, you know, the process of being an athlete, you know, the salute to all the OGs that are getting in to the media space. I love it because you guys have a vantage point. But I don't think they ask the questions that, you know, the people really want to know. Like, what type of drug test did they give y'all, or what did y'all use to pass them the way that y'all did to be able to? Because I know y'all was smoking weed playing.
Let me tell you this. This is how it went. When I first
Man,
got
they
in
still
NBA
using them. Don't say the one
No,
they
no.
still
No,
using.
no,
Say
see.
the old one that we might be able to go to GNC and grab to help us pass. Where you know you got to take that piss test to go get the job at the Harris Teeter. We need that type of information, man.
Nah, I'm gonna tell you. So when we first got in the league, we used to have 4 random drug tests. The first test you knew was coming during training camp. So you could do whatever you wanted in the off season, but you had to be clean for training camp for that first test.
Okay.
Now the other 3 tests, if I'm not mistaken, Killer, they was random. You didn't know when they was coming. So when I first got in the league, I was undrafted. I ain't want to my shit up. I wasn't gonna fuck up my money. I wasn't smoking. So fast forward now.
It changed real
They changed
quickly,
the
though.
rule.
Chico, it changed real quickly for him.
Yeah,
Oh,
they
did?
changed,
he
they
started-
changed, they
he
changed
went-
the rule.
He went back to being.
They changed the rule, and I think was it one test? They changed the rule. But I tell you this: once we got in that NBA bubble, they had to throw all that shit out the window because needed emotional support dogs and everything else, and they knew goddamn well if they didn't give us no weed, we were gonna go home.
Time out, man. You big ass was walking around with emotional support. You
Man,
was,
listen here.
You mean tell me Udonis had a Yorkie
You died.
in the bubble?
I do have a Frenchie named Marlon at home. I love Marlon. That's my. But in the bubble, no, I did not. I was one of those dudes in the bubble where I immediately that shit was like prison. Like I ain't with the other side. I'm on my side.
Okay,
It's-
got you.
What 15? How many teams? Everybody teaming is in there. So I'm right now. I'm letting it be known. Let's get comfortable being uncomfortable. Don't try to make this shit at home. You know what I'm saying? That's what I think most people went wrong. They went in the bubble trying to make it like home. Got teams out there frying chicken and playing in the yard and this ain't gonna be nothing like home. So I was actually on some military shit. I was sleeping on my couch, drinking water and making coffee with Jimmy.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like
Hey, real quick though, I'm gonna help here. He asked the question, "How'd you pass your drug test?" You ain't answering the question.
I did not smoke when we had the 4 drug test killer. That's
So you
what
didn't
I'm
smoke for
telling
the first 5 years of your career?
you. Hell no.
Damn, that's
I ain't
impressive.
smoking, not during the season. Not off season. It was all gas, no brakes.
All gas,
Not
no
during
brakes.
the season. Hell no. I put that down during the season. Now, once they changed the rules, now it's a little more leeway. You know what I'm saying?
a little more leeway.
Now, once we had the randoms, you know, once you get one,
Mhm.
you ain't gonna get one for another few months.
Okay.
So now you got a little. So soon as that day you take that drug test, that same day, oh, you better get your ounce or your pound or whatever you gonna get. You better blow it down.
That's crazy.
You got about 2
man.
days.
That's crazy.
Now after them 2 days, now you get your gallon of water. You take your ass to practice every day. You drink your
Sweat it
water.
out.
You sweat that shit out, and then now
Okay.
you wait for your next one. Now after you take your next one, you probably got about 2 more days to smoke it out. And after that, you got to worry about getting ready for your test again. So you got about a 2-day window after you take your drug
And
test.
for me, Chico, they didn't test for Mick Ultra.
Nah, they don't test.
Oh,
that.
Mick, you was on the, you was
Straight beer.
Oh, straight beer.
Nah,
my man was
Country
he
boy
ain't-
beer.
he ain't-
yeah,
he don't want none of
Clay
that
Thompson. Man, I don't know what it must be a thing with y'all shooters, man. Y'all shooters just like beer, man. And you know, y'all were actually roommates in college. Like, so you were, I would take it, was a touted recruit. Were you?
Nah, not as much. Not as much. Nah,
Stop
it was
lying.
more. It was
He was
more.
a top 50 kid in high school.
I don't even remember. I think I was top 100.
Yeah. Okay.
Top 100.
Yeah,
Well,
I was bought in.
that's
I was
still
bought, I was
impressive.
bought in to be his enforcer. That's what they say. It was like, look here, take care of him.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do. You take care of him, you good.
Oh,
So
well, that's
the
what
first thing I did
you
was
ended
found-
up making that your career
Oh
path.
shit! The first thing I did was found the biggest football player on the campus. He just happened to take the man girlfriend. But anyway, that's something. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
What
he
you found him?
Well, he found him, and I had to find him for him.
Oh my goodness, man!
Yeah,
that
that's-
is ridiculous, man. Who took your girl, man? Did he,
He
go
took
pro?
somebody girl,
Oh, you took the football player girl. Oh, okay.
and he married her. He with her now today, got wife and kids.
Well, at least you kept her.
And we ain't heard. We ain't even heard of Buddy no more. So
Yeah,
he probably
Buddy,
still
yeah.
want. He probably still want to whip your ass to
Yeah, I
this day.
bet. You know what I mean? Not after seeing you. You know what I mean?
Good
You know what I
luck.
mean? Y'all need to change the name of this podcast to The Shooter and the Bully. The Shooter and the Bully, man. All the way. Like, so, you know, that's definitely a question for you, UD. Like, that's a real strenuous role, I would think, to take in the NBA, because, you know, you got a lot of big dudes that, you know what I mean, just as far as just body mass is,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, you got to really be willing to do it. Like,
Crazy, Chico.
Where I
That's
came
the
from,
hell.
I mean, I still got.
He's
First of all,
nuts.
I'm my daddy's son, and my
Mhm.
daddy don't.
You're-
My daddy for
crazy.
who he is, or he just taught. That's just the mentality that my daddy always had with me. So I'm my daddy's son. And secondly, I grew up in an era where, you know what I'm saying, you played at the park, and you never know.
right.
You know what I'm saying? You never know. Somebody get fouled, and they don't want to take the foul, and next thing you know, the basketball drop, and it's on for about 5 minutes. Then they break it up,
Break
and
it
then
up,
you get
yeah.
back to playing.
Okay.
You see the dude the next day, and it's all good. So for me, it was always one of those things where it's like, as long as we're respectful out here, I'm good, but I ain't gonna tolerate no disrespect.
No
But I never disrespect nobody. I never started anything. I never started anything with anybody.
So who would you say are some of the guys that, you know, were respected in the same vein as you in that role? You know what I mean? Throughout your career.
Man,
that you
Meta
know,
World Peace.
For real? Oh, well.
Hell yeah. You know
Early in my career, Oak.
Meta World Peace.
Oak.
Oak.
I've
Yeah,
heard
Oak could put
stories
them paws
about
on your
Oak
ass
slapped
right now
somebody.
today at 50 or 60.
Slap
Right now
shot.
today, you talk that shit. Oh, he coming with it.
it. For real.
What?
He ain't even gonna ask a question. He's just gonna slap you.
Oh,
Listen,
my goodness.
yeah, man, to this day, Lil Oak still on that.
Oh, yeah. I bet he done paid a lot of
mean,
lawsuits.
Ben
since this
Wallace.
day.
Detroit Pistons front line.
Ben Walsh.
You know what I'm saying? Ben Wallace, Antonio McDyess, Rasheed Wallace,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Corliss Williamson.
Corliss Williamson.
All of them was crazy.
Oh, my goodness.
Derek Coleman, knock your
Derek
block
was
off.
nuts.
Goodness gracious,
Yeah, them dudes
man.
that we played with in our era. So
Oh.
them dudes was really on that. A lot of
Cliff
these dudes
Robinson.
ain't on that. They be doing all
Cliff.
that talking.
Ooh, Cliff was
Cliff
Cliff
big
was a
day.
bad too.
For real?
Cliff,
Mhm.
they smoked that gas too.
I'm sure he does.
Smoke that gas
Hey,
too.
man, hey, man, we going to explain that to the... when he said he smoked that gas, it means he drives
Yeah,
real
we ain't talking
fast.
about
We don't-
93 octane at
We don't know.
Amoco.
Yeah, we don't know what Cliff...
That
no.
home that can't
Hey,
translate.
Hold on, I got a question for you now. So growing up in DC but spending time in Carolina, who's your team? Who's your players that you grew up watching? Who's your team you were behind?
You gonna say the Redskins?
No.
I was
You-
gonna say
you
the
gonna say
motherfucking gay. You
The
Wizards.
Redskins and the Cowboys, both of them. You know what I mean, I grew up watching that, cause so much dissension in my household. Like, man, it's ridiculous. Redskins and Cowboys beef in DC is outrageous, man. I've seen some of the most. I grew up working in the barbershop. I started working in the barbershop when I was 9 years old. as a brush boy, brushing people off for dollars. And, you know, a lot of my understanding, but a lot of my understanding of manhood came out of the barbershop. You know what I mean? You learn so much being in there every day, seeing men interact. And then, you know, DC was Chocolate City at the time. Like now it's white chocolate chip city. They didn't gentrify it tremendously, but at that time, just being amongst black men gave me so much, you know, game and how to understand it. And one thing that I can say that of all the things, of all the confrontation that I've saw in the barbershop throughout my time working there, the one that was the most detrimental was when the Cowboys played the Redskins. I'm talking about fist fights.
Yeah.
Man, you ain't, how much you want to bet? You ain't got no money. It's ridiculous. So I never forget my mama was a Cowboys fanatic. Like, I'm talking about Cowboys fanatic. Her and my uncle got into it about the Cowboys and the Redskins, and the argument was so bad, I picked the Denver Broncos. So I was a Denver Bronco fan. I never forget. They had the orange and blue uniforms. I was like, this my team. So I grew up a Denver Broncos fan. As far as basketball, I never really had a team. I was more player-oriented. Like, you know what I mean? I love AI. AI is my Jordan.
Man.
You know what I mean? Iverson is my Jordan.
Bubba Chuck was on.
Yeah, like he's my, like I thought he was from D.C. Like that's how much of an influence he had on just
Hampton, Virginia, right?
He's from Hampton, Virginia, but you know he went to Georgetown, and you know what I mean, and he played like a DC, like we played ball. You know what I'm saying? Like I grew up playing ball. I was decent. You know what I mean? And I'm really shooting. I was really, really nice, but you know what I mean? I'm amongst legends, so I was decent. But AI, man, was my favorite player growing up. Like just watching him. I'm talking about watching him play was so motivational. I'm talking about that would always make me pick up my basketball and go to the park and just, you know, I remember he came out with that commercial, the Reebok commercial with he threw the ball around, threw it around. Man, it took me, I like the 16 pair of socks up in the living room trying to figure out how to do that. White chocolate.
Jay Will.
Yeah, Jay Will is one of my favorite. Now KD, I love KD. You know what I mean? Bron is, you know,
KD from the hood.
Yeah, KD, of course, man. KD is a monster, man. Bron, like y'all Miami squad, like I was, cause I'm a Ray Allen fan. That's my nickname in the hood. Ray Allen. They call me Ray Allen.
You had a geezer like that, you could shoot it, huh?
No, yeah, for sure. Yeah, that was my, if they don't call me Bean, they gonna call me Ray Allen.
But you ain't playing no defense though.
Nah.
You got that part of Ray too?
Yeah, I think so. But you know, so I was a huge Ray Allen fan. So when y'all got when that Miami team came together, I was rocking with Boston when he was there, but when he went to Miami, man, y'all was beautiful to watch, man. So I would definitely say that Iverson is number one for me though, man. There's nobody more influential on me as an athlete. That's my favorite athlete, period, is Allen Iverson.
Why can't shooters play defense? This translate all the way to the park with Chico.
No, I wasn't even a shooter. I just, you know what I mean, looked like Ray Allen when I was young.
Oh, you just looked like Ray Allen. You ain't get the Ray Allen results.
No, I wasn't a shooter. I was the handle man. Like, you know what I mean? I had one of the most notorious handles, and I didn't make people run in the stands, fall down. That was my thing. But then I just, you know, be laughing. So that's what I couldn't focus, man. Like, if I put you, that's why I should have known I was always going to have to do something with comedy, because whenever I make stumble or fall, I get to busting out laughing, like, you know what I mean, and the play up. So, but like I just really enjoy it. Now I think the game is so much more quick and fast than it was when, you know, I was a little boy in the 90s. So, you know, just watching that style of basketball, what would get you ejected for 3 games now was just a foul.
And it might not have been called.
And it might not have been called. So like just seeing the way that the game has changed, my question to y'all is, do you think that it was more difficult to play in the roughhouse era or play now with the skill set that's going on now?
I think you kind of nailed it. Like the skill set now, like they're bigger, taller, faster. I mean, more athletic. Like it's wild what these kids are doing now. But like the harder era was the era that we came up in my opinion. Like this is how old I am. My bigs when I got drafted in Orlando was Patrick Ewing, goddamn Sean Kemp.
I hated that.
Like, but I'm saying, like, you played 2 7-footers. You don't see that shit no more. Like, it's wild. Like, we were having this conversation before. Minnesota has those 2 7-footers. They were like, damn, this is crazy. That's what it used to be. You're like, it was a big physical game, and now it's like open and free. Yeah. Right. It's a lot of workouts and training, but I think the game's easier to play in now. Yeah. It's probably not as easy to guard in now because these guys are coming at you now.
I mean, they're more skilled. They're more talented. 7-foot handling the ball, shooting threes. Went beyond like that. I got out right in time. I don't want none of that. Yeah, I don't want none of that.
want to see
But
Buddy pull you out to the perimeter and be like, man, I'm about to shoot you in your kneecap.
Yeah, as soon as at 7'3", as soon as you cross me up and shoot a three, I'm looking around like, what the f we doing?
What are we doing?
Like,
all the way.
So to your point, the game, the physicality of the game that we played in made it tougher. But I think the skill set that these players have now makes the game more exciting. It makes the game more marketable. You know what I'm saying? Nobody want to see nobody get beat up all motherfucking game like they used to do back in the day. Back in the days when Detroit used to knock the shit out of MJ and all that shit. Nobody want to see that shit no more. You want to see your star players get 40.
Yeah, you want to see them.
You want to see your star players go for 40.
Shoot from half court.
Yeah,
and
you
all
want to
that.
see your star players get off. One thing though for me before we move on, and I got to give flowers to Nick Cannon. You know what I'm saying? Because as a man, one, and as a black man, two, this is the ultimate hustler. I watch this, you know what I'm saying, all the time, just paying attention to people that are doing a lot of things. And I sit home and I pay attention to everything that everybody's doing. And every time I turn around, this got his hand in the bag. If it's not the Masked Singer or the Wildn Out or the what they call it, Nick Credible. Or whatever it is he's got going on.
Incredible.
Some kind of cancel culture show or something.
Nick Credible. You need to make that a show now, Nick. If you see that, Nick Credible is like a court show where you the lawyer or the judge. Nick Credible.
Nick Credible.
You know what I mean? But yeah, Nick is one of the most unique individuals you'll ever run into, man, because a lot of what I learned from the game come from watching him, you know what I mean? Because when we came in, we were nobody. He was already a superstar, you know what I'm saying, at that time. So being able to watch a superstar from that close of a vantage point is something you usually don't get to do. Because I say one of the most unique things about Nick is, a lot of people will put you on or put you in position or give you a position and be like, yeah, I did that for you. But then they'll send you off and just, figure it out.
Yeah.
Nick put us in position and stood next to us the whole time. And not only stood next to us, but let us use him as a springboard to launch ourselves into another stratosphere because his life was always newsworthy. Nobody knew who or cared what we had going on at that time. But you married to Mariah Carey and you got all these things going on. You could have easily said, hey, if you want to be on this show, I better not hear come out your mouth.
Hey, man.
Nobody better not say nothing about this, that, and the third. There was none of that. I'm here. I'm one of y'all. If I'm on this stage, I'm no different than anybody else on this stage. And when you think about the fact that it was his show, his idea, he was the one that run everything, for him to put himself in a position to be a boss and put yourself in the position of a worker and work with the workers the way that he did, that's what makes him so unique. And that's why he'll always be able to get a bag and win, because he ingratiates himself with people in a way to where you understand that this dude really is a part of whatever it is he's creating. He's not just creating it just to be able to say, I put my name on something. He's creating it to be a part of it and to be involved with it. And that's why we learned what we learned coming from Wildn Out, being on the 85 South show. We learned the game from there and say, okay, and we got to take this and turn it into something else. And the good part about Nick is he could have put us in, I'm talking about 360, he could have put us in a 720 easily, and we would have been, because we all was hungry.
Yeah.
But he ain't do us like that. He was like, man, y'all go do whatever it is you want to use this for. Man, go turn up.
That's love.
You know what I mean? And I don't need nothing but to see y'all succeed. So that right there, man, it's one of the, and the fact that he let people think whatever they want to think about him is another part that I grasp too. Like just seeing him, with the, Nick is corny and this and that. I remember I asked him one time, I'm like, man, why you don't never feel the need to address none of that shit? He was like, because I look in the mirror every day. Me.
The man got.
You know what I mean?
The man ain't
You know what I'm saying? So, and that right there is a real sentiment to go by, because people are going to always have an opinion about you regardless of what you do. So do what you want to do and, let the chips fall where they may. So, salute to Nick, man. He forever have our love and loyalty, man, because, he put us in the game for real. He gave us the opportunity to be able to make a name for ourselves.
I'm going to tell you right now, I would have been like Nick. Some of them jokes we'd have had to stop because y'all be on, boy. Y'all be tearing Nick ass up.
Not pause. Yeah. But, yeah, you know what I mean? He definitely, I can't say that he got offended by, and the only thing
I was going to ask you, that was my next question.
The only thing that I've ever seen Nick get offended by is when Nick talked about his music. That's it. That's the only thing. he'll get a little, you know, and you can tell because sometimes he'll just let the jokes ride. He don't say nothing back, but you say certain things about his music, that be like, hey, don't get it up. I really do this. And he don't say it like that. He'll hit you back with a joke, and you can tell the level of the joke that he tell, how offended he was by whatever somebody said.
Got a little more aggressive coming back.
Yeah. But that's it. Other than that, man, it's whatever. He like to laugh just as much as we do, and that's the cool part about Wildn Out. Like, if you come on that show, don't come on that show uptight because nobody's above it here. No matter who you are, no matter how cool you may think you are, one of these people on this stage gonna find something about you that you ain't account for, and we gonna talk about it. So if you can't take that, stay off the stage. Don't come with the restrictions and the stipulations, man. Them be the worst shows.
People come with that?
Yes, man.
See,
you can't talk about this. Don't say nothing about this. And it always be the things that the people want to hear you talk about.
Yeah.
They make sure that you don't say this, don't say that, don't say this, don't say that. It'd be like, man, this clown.
Yeah. Honestly, because I watched the show and I'm a fan of the show. And I thought about going on the show. But I was like, boy, I don't know if I can handle that, boy.
You gonna fight.
Nah, that's part of the show. I know it. Let me tell you something, Killer.
Someone say something like, shit.
Killer ain't gonna fight nobody. I love the show. I'm a fan
I know
of
you
the
love
show,
the show.
But what I know
say something about you.
they good. They're good at what they do. Freestyle comedy, they're good at what they do.
They're
good at what they do.
For sure. You get up there and get to telling them jokes and they ain't working. You be like, man, hey, man, you might need to fight the microphone because you are losing. You be whooping everybody on the court, but this microphone is kicking your ass, Udonis. You need to,
You Udonis.
You know what I mean?
I love this.
Yeah,
Anthony Jamal Bean.
Yeah, exactly. We just full naming it now, and that forever. That's what we're. Udonis, Anthony. Hello.
You talked about the eras, different eras in basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Give us the different eras in comedy, because I think with what Cat Williams, when he went on and did his interview, kind of talked about the eras of comedy. Where is it at? Because like we talked about basketball, different eras, different styles. Where's comedy sit right now?
It's pretty much the same as what we were talking about with basketball. Just the game has sped up, and it's a whole lot more ways to get to the basket, if you will. You know what I mean, and score. Because you think 25 years ago, 20 years ago, there was no internet. There was no social media. Right. So you had to really be present in certain areas to even be on the radar. You had to go to New York or you had to go to LA and hustle that way and grind. Versus when I started in 08 and social media was just really getting kicked off for real, I knew that, man, I'm not the person that's going to mesh well in that type of environment. I'm not that dude. I don't know how to fake kick it. So I can't be standing out front of the comedy club trying to be the funniest in front of the club. Like, I can't do that. So I told myself I'm going to stay in North Carolina and make a name for myself here and create a wave around myself here, and they'll come find me because I got so many outlets to be able to show. It's no different than you look at like what's with basketball. All these mixtapes and it was and one. That was it. You know what I mean? But now you got dudes making these viral videos and they get 7th grade, 7th, 8th grade, that stars. So it's the same way with comedy. It's so many different ways to get to stardom now. Celebrity is completely different. I always ask people who were famous before social media, what was it like to be really famous? Because fame has changed so much. Like fame, the access to celebrity is completely different. You look at, like, for example, I was just having a conversation with somebody about the Kendrick Drake. When Tupac and Biggie was beefing, we had to wait till the Source magazine came out and the XXL magazine came out to see what somebody said in the interview. And now it's every 15 seconds you seeing everything. So comedy is in the same state. But one thing I will say that hasn't changed, just like the game of basketball or any other sport or anything that you do, there is certain elements that will always be consistent. And when it comes to comedy, standing flat foot on stage with that microphone will always be standing flat foot on stage with that microphone. It don't matter how many social media apps that come out. It don't matter how many views or likes you get. When you get up in front of that crowd with that microphone, if you ain't right, you ain't right. And it don't matter how funny you are online, how funny you are. If you can't do that, don't do that. Now, you don't have to do that now. That's another part of it. There was a time 20 years ago, you had no choice but to do stand-up. Now you don't have to. But if you choose to, that's the same. You know what I mean? And it's the same way with I would assume with basketball, you know what I mean? It's like standing at the free throw line. And when the game on the line, you at that free throw line.
Can't run from it.
You can't run. You either going to miss it or make it. So it's up to you. But I think that comedy is in a better state now because there's so many more opportunities that were created by social media and by the internet. You know, the internet has expanded the world in a way that it's expanded it while shrunk it at the same time. You know, I make jokes all the time. Like, I only knew what the girls looked like in my neighborhood and the ones I went to school with. The youngest now know what the girls look like all around the city and all around the country. I'm like, you know how many times I would have stole a car to drive to South Dakota? I'm talking about straight to South Dakota. They say they got the hoes at the Colonel's games.
Show.
Let's go.
What?
Let's go out there. You know what I mean? But so I think that the comedy is the beneficiary of the internet in ways that, you know, I think probably better than most other industry, comedy has benefited the most because the cycle is 15 to 60 seconds now. So every 15 to 60 seconds you scrolling and you seeing something different. So it's so many opportunities for you can be nobody one day and then the next day you hawk Tuah and
Oh Lord, that shit crazy. That drive me crazy.
And then you out of here.
She from
you know
South
what
Dakota.
I mean? You booked, you got merch, you like that. You know what I mean? So that didn't exist. So I think that that's what, you know, comedy is in a state of is in a better state as far as you being able to make it. But I know a lot of the OGs, they can't stand it because they can't figure it out. And that's the thing. Like, I tell people all the time, making it on the internet now is just as difficult as making it back in the day when you was, you know, handing out flyers with your face on it because you got to catch, you know what I mean? And you ain't in control of that algorithm. So once that algorithm, if you get caught on that algorithm, it could be like the situation you make a video just doing an interview on the street. And the next thing you know, you booked on the Tonight Show. And it's crazy. It just go like that.
Man, who is your OGs in the game? Who is your motivation? Who you with here? Like Still Nine, who motivated you early?
Was my favorite comedian growing up.
He from DC too,
born
right?
and raised, yes. Quake was my favorite comedian growing up and still, you know what I mean, I would say he's been the biggest influence on me just across the board, not just in comedy, but in life, because his daughter is my manager.
Okay.
His daughter is like, and that was the most random in the world. We met at a show in Southern University. Salute the boss lady management, man, the best in the world if you ask me. But I did a show at Southern University, and, you know, I had never been to New Orleans before. It was my first time going to New Orleans. So I was, you know, exploring. Whenever I go to a city I never been to before, I explore. I'm going to see all of this. I'm a tourist. So she was like, man, you never been to New Orleans? I said, today was my first day. I went and looked at a couple of things. She said, you ever been to Bourbon Street? I was like, nah. She was like, we going to Bourbon Street. So this is our first time meeting. We on Bourbon Street, walking down the street, talking. And she asked me the same question you just asked me, because she had never saw me do stand-up before, because a lot of people watching me on Wildn Out didn't know I was a comedian. They just saw me on Wildn Out and thought, is he a rapper? Is he a comedian? Because I did so much on it. And she was like, you raw. Like, who is some of your favorite? And I said, man, Earthquake, my favorite comedian. He been my favorite comedian my whole life. And she was like, oh, yeah, that's Dad. I was like, yeah, I feel like that's my father, too. And she was like, no, that's really my father. I was like,
so you didn't know that?
I was like, are you serious? And, you know what I mean, fast forward, I had, you know, I was always independent. I did everything on my own. I've always had to. So I had a situation come up where I had a contract that, you know what I mean, I really didn't understand the verbiage of. And, you know, she, in the conversation that we had, was like, this is what she was, you know, went to school for and what she wanted to do. And she was working with her dad. And I called her and was like, man, I don't know if you ever did this before, but you think you can take a look at this for me? And we've been working together ever since. So, you know, Quake, Martin, of course. Okay. Martin is, man, Martin helped raise me, man. Okay. Like, just, you know, he influenced the culture so much, man. Martin is like Allen Iverson to me. They in the same, as far as influence on my life. Both of them dudes is quintessential in me being who I am. Patrice O'Neal, Corey Holcomb, D-Ray Davis, Lil Duval, and all of these dudes, like Corey, D-Ray, Duval, all of these dudes are dudes that I met when I got on Wildn Out. And I say I'm blessed in the game because you hear a lot of horror stories about the OGs embracing the young generation. I didn't go through that. All of them showed me love immediately. Like, Corey was the first person that I saw in our first workshop when we got to Wildn Out, and I was like, oh, that's Corey Holcomb. So when we doing a little fake wild style, I'm like, I'm going at this. I gotta go at him because that's just who I was. It's like being on the court. Like, oh, okay, they go Jordan. Now I'm gonna try to go at the dog, man. did me so greasy in that wild style. I can't remember what he said to me, but it was some of the funniest shit I had ever heard in my life. But you know, I went at him. I remember I said he was built like a Teddy Graham, and he said something back to me that was way more cold. And he pulled me to the side and gave me the best advice that I ever got in regards to Wildn Out. He said, "Man, hey, let me tell you something, man. I can see it in you, man. You got it." He was like, "Let me tell you, figure out something to do on this. Because if you don't, you're going to be one of them they show on the intro clapping, and that's going to be the only time they see your ass." And that's the realest shit ever when it comes to that show. So him, D-Ray, Duval, man, it's so many. I done met Steve Harvey. DL, all of the Sid. I just ran into Sid at the New Edition concert the other night. Like, all of the OGs have embraced me, man.
New Edition at a concert? New Edition at a concert?
Man, listen, man. Yes.
All of them.
Listen, man.
Bobby pulled up.
Bobby, Ronnie, Bobby, Ricky, Mike, Johnny, the whole
Johnny
squad.
came too.
Everybody was there, man. And I'm talking about to see somebody performing that's been in the game for 40 plus years is amazing, man. I was a student. I was just because, you know, I actually know Ronnie personally. I met him in New Orleans.
Okay.
He recognized me. And that's another part of what I do that's so amazing to me when people that I grew up watching on the other side of that box know who I am. It blows my mind. Like when they ask me to come do this, I'm like, man, them know me? All right, you know, that's crazy. But, you know, I met him at the hotel in New Orleans. I'm walking through the lobby. He said, "Chico Bean." I turned around. I was like, "Ronnie?" And then as I'm looking at him, Ricky and Mike came around the corner. I was like, "Ronnie, Ricky, and Mike?" And he invited me to a show then. So when I was here, I was walking through the wind, and I seen his cousin. He was like, "Chico, man, you know we here for the residency." And I went to the show, man. It was amazing. Watching them do the meet and greets, all things that I do now as a career, to see them still doing it 40 years later.
So they here now?
They here now.
Oh, we got it, Mike.
Oh, tonight. Yeah, tonight.
I got to try to put that on my calendar.
Yeah, tonight at the Win, man. I'm talking about an amazing show. The only thing, them was sweating like a... I'm talking about, but if it isn't like, why do I feel this way? Oh, well, I'm like, man, somebody wipe Bobby nose, man. Bobby nose running. Them is getting it in.
Hey, man.
I'm talking about they had to come out with the mop like the Sandman after. I was like, boy, they getting it in. They still doing it. They was sweating like, man, Ralph Tresvant came out performing Sensitivity like he was fresh off the grill. I'm talking about he had his shirt open. "Girl, I know you so sad."
He still think he got it. He still think he got it.
He still do got it. That's the thing, man. And to see all of them women in there, and you be like, "That my aunt," and they still in there. They still in there ready. I'm talking about Cool It Now and Candy Girl. They had, I'm like, man, I can only hope to be in the game that long and still have that level of fanfare. I'm talking about these, you know that these women have been fans of these dudes since the early 80s. They came out in 1983. 83, and to still be doing the residency and selling it out in Vegas in 2024. It's crazy. 41 years in the game, man. It's amazing. It's amazing. How long did you play, UD?
20.
20. How long
I
did you
just
play?
got out.
17.
17. Y'all had a long careers. Like,
Sure.
what would y'all say realistically is the lifespan of an NBA career?
I mean, if you can get 10, you're loving life.
Yeah, but I
It's
think
probably
that,
about 5,
I
7.
think I was going to say 5 to 7.
5 to 7.
I mean, the biggest thing is
Is
you
that
gotta,
the average player, or
yeah, I mean, you got to equate.
elite?
You got to equate, right? You have a lot of those. If you take away the guys that make those 10 days or 1 year things, they take a lot of the years out of it. But if normal players, probably 5 to 7. I'd say.
I'd say about 5 to 7.
5 to 7. Why do you think that is?
I mean, the game
As opposed to 20 and 17.
A lot of times it's just that they don't understand. Like, some of them just aren't as good as they think they are when they get drafted or come in. The other one is like, just they don't understand the game and the habits of staying. Like, there's a game within the game. Just like anything else in life, when you're trying to climb that ladder, you got to understand, like, the answer is always yes till you get there. They don't do that.
We all one trade, one injury, and one coach away from being an all-star role player out the league.
Really?
NBA got shiny toy syndrome. The next one, get your ass out of there. If you ain't a superstar, you are expendable. You know what I'm saying?
Now, how would you say you become a superstar? Because I know it's more than just playing the game. That's just one aspect of it.
Yeah, a lot of it is just draft position where you're drafted. I mean, because, you know, when teams and anything else, they invest a lot of time and money into you, they need you to be a superstar. If I'm a GM who picks you top 5 in the draft, I never to show out for me. Otherwise, my job's at jeopardy. So it's having those opportunities, and usually those top number 1 picks, if they change franchises overnight, I mean, and then some of them just can't miss. Is like, you know, I mean, you see LeBron's of the world, KD's of the world, Ja's of the world. Like they can't miss TV, right?
Mhm.
So like those guys to me, but he's right. I mean, you know, a lot of it's opportunity.
But then you get a guy like Joker who was drafted in the second
And
round. How does that happen?
Man.
I was his vet in Denver when he came in, and I saw it from the beginning. But he had that. He had that the whole time. He just needed opportunity.
And
So they get it wrong more than they get it right.
Because another thing is a lot of guys that make the decisions never played the game.
Yeah, he was
So they sit.
undrafted.
So
He
they
was
sit in front of the
Chico, he was
computer. They sit in front of. They sit in
He
front of
was
the computer.
undrafted.
Let me take my glass off for this. You, know,
You
I
didn't get drafted?
No, I didn't get drafted. I was undrafted. Let me take my glasses off. All you that sit at home that never played and worry about how high somebody jump and how fast they run and draft them based off that. That doesn't that has nothing to do with winning or losing. I hope you know that now, because the Joker can't jump over a biscuit. You know what I'm saying?
So
I'm
good.
6'6". I lied and said I was 6'8", but I got 3 rings. So I'm 6'6". So all you that sit at home and the wingspan and
6'6" and a half.
Heart.
6'6" and a half.
And that's the problem. They don't measure heart. They don't measure how desperate a is to put himself in a position to take care of his family. What's his why? Why is he doing this? Because let me tell you this. Once I walked in a position or any arena with anybody, it was me and you. We locking ourselves in the room, and I'm coming out. That's how I approach every situation. I'm the one that's coming out. We gonna lock ourselves in this room, and I'm coming out.
So I question, like, who would you say? Because you know you guys played in the league for so long, but you know coming from the hood, it's so many dudes who you know could have made it, or if they would have just not did this or not did that. So who would you say is the best player that you ever played with or played against that nobody's ever heard of?
Shea Cotton for me.
Wow.
Shea Cotton was a bad. No,
Who is Shea Cotton?
he was
You never
number.
heard Shea Cotton?
He was actually the #1 player in the country
Yeah.
for 3 years straight.
Really?
Felipe Lopez was one of them too, from New
Lopez
York.
was a bad boy. For me, it's Tim James. Tim James from my hood. He the reason why I wear number 40. So he went to Northwestern, which is the school that's in my hood, Liberty City. He went to University of Miami, and he was the first player to get drafted for the Heat from Miami.
Wow.
So he got drafted from Miami Hurricanes to the Miami Heat. He from my hood. But Tim James was like a legend in the hood. He high jumped 7'2".
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? He was average 20 in basketball. You know what I'm saying? So he pretty much was the guy in the hood that he did everything. So he got drafted by the Heat. I think his career with the Heat only lasted about 2 years, but that had an impact on me that lasted forever. So once I got to the Miami Heat, I wanted number 40. One, because Tim James. Two, because my pops were number 40. But Tim James was a legend in the hood in Miami.
man.
One thing too about it, like, and it's hard for these guys to understand it, but at 16, 17, 18, especially now because of how things are going, like you got to make professional decisions. Like every decision you make is a difference between you making it and not making it. School you choose, what you do, like all these things come into perspective. If you want to be that dude, you got to make right decisions. Some are just so good they can do it on their own, but very few of them can do it. It's
you gotta get in the right program, right coach.
They're
right.
making professional decisions now at 17 years old. What school am I going to? What am I doing? How am I going to circle my team?
I mean, they get millions of dollars at 17
Millions
years old
of
now.
dollars. Yeah.
The NIL, that's crazy. We joked about it earlier, but
He
get out
got
of
$1
control.
million. He got 1,500 though. He got 1,500.
That shit felt like $1 million.
It gave me two. Gave me two of that
That
shit.
shit
you
felt like $1
200.
million.
Now, being as though you guys are in media, man, like you just said the people making a decision that didn't play the game. Does it make it easier for you to be? Because I watch you on as an analyst, and you know what I mean, like y'all working in the media space. Do y'all find it difficult to be able to talk about players because you played the game, or does it make it easier for you to talk about the game because you played?
I mean, me personally, like, and I've already had this, these things come up for me. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna make it a point to always speak the truth, but it's the way you say certain things. And I think the delivery is the most important thing about it. So I'm always gonna speak the truth. If you ain't out there and stunk it up, I'm gonna say you stunk it the f up. You know what I'm saying? But I might not say it like that. You know what I'm saying? But also, besides criticizing the way you stuck it up, I'm gonna talk about what you could have did better and how you could have done it better and what you could have done differently. So for me, I'm always gonna have somewhat of a, balanced outlook. You know what I'm saying? On a lot of that. You know what I mean? No matter who it is, people know I can't stand them up Celtics. But if I'm gonna speak on Jason Tatum, I'm gonna speak on Jaylen Brown. Anybody got to do with the Celtics? I'm gonna shoot it straight and I'm gonna be honest. You know what I'm saying? If they got off and they did their thing, they did their thing. You know what I'm saying? So I'm always gonna be straight. I'm always gonna be honest, but I'm gonna be thoughtful about the way I present. You know what I'm saying? The things that I say.
I think it's a lot like comedy. If you're gonna say something, you gotta be willing to get hit back.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like if you're gonna go up there and say the truth, which is, and when you get in the media, it's hard to criticize other players because you understand what they're going through because you lived it your entire life. But like if you're doing it, you're gonna get fired back on, right? Like
but he don't have to worry about that because he an agent.
I am an agent.
See, they only gonna with me.
Well, I mean,
He got
that's not
immunity.
true. No, that's not
This
immunity.
got immunity.
That's
No,
not
you
immunity.
gotta be willing to get
He
fired
can't
back
say
on.
shit. He ain't want to say shit.
I
Don't
mean,
say shit.
of course, yeah. Well, I mean, that make it difficult to say something. But what was did anybody, and you don't have to name them if you don't want to, but was there any during your playing career, somebody that said something to you in the media that made you be like, man, if I see him, I got to see about Slim.
I guarantee he does.
Hmm.
I didn't pay attention to that shit, to be honest with you, so I don't know.
Nah, I ain't pay attention to it, but I mean, for the Heat, we always had Ira Winderman who covered the Heat. And Ira's a Gator from Florida, ironically, but I used to want to whip Ira ass 7 days a week and twice on Sunday.
For real?
Oh, yeah, all the time. He know that. Tell him that now. I just want to whoop Ira ass.
How about the media guy that said that Shaq couldn't win with a center, 7 foot center next to him?
Oh, that's Dan Lebron. That's old. I mean, he from Miami. See
But
how he tried to tee me up to
wanna
go off
whoop
on
his
people,
ass?
but he don't never see how
He asked the
See how
question.
he tee me up to go off on people, but his Asian ass can't never go off on nobody.
Yeah.
You see
Well,
that?
you know what
Angry
I
black
mean?
man over here.
Angry black
it
man.
ain't.
Tee me up to go-
Now you just
tee
got to
me
be
up.
more creative with it. Explain it to the crowd in a different capacity.
That's what
You
I
know
said.
I mean?
Yes.
That's what you got to do.
That's what
you
Dan
know what I mean?
Lebron. Dan know I love him, but he said that Shaq could never win with a power forward my size. So I was like, yeah, Dan, you tripping.
Oh
You from
yeah,
Miami.
man. See, that's the thing. Like I watch, a lot of sports media, and you take people like Stephen A. and who get controversial takes, and now Shannon Sharp and Skip Bayless and all them people. Like I just always look at it because comedy is getting into that point where you have people who critique comedy the same way now, like with the internet and all of these reaction pages and people who online making lists of the funniest this and the funniest that. Like it's always good to be able to give strategy for people who actually make it into being in the space of being criticized, because that's what you want. I tell people all the time when they ask me for advice, like, get to a point where more people are talking about you than you can never know that are talking about you, then you're doing something good. But at the same time, being able to manage that, it's so crazy. It took me a while to be able to figure out how to do it because, them comments, man, you get to read them comments, man. That had you. I'm talking about you be ready to, man. Let me find out what this. Let me hit Batman and get this IP address so I can pull up and see if he said. But the reality is, man, that I realized is, like, it's like having a line of people. 99 of them, it's 100 people. 99 of them got $100 handed out to you. The 100th person don't got nothing standing there with their arms crossed. You'll walk past 99 people with $100 to walk to the one person that ain't got nothing. What you standing here with your arms crossed for? What's wrong with you? And it's the most asinine thought process ever.
Yeah.
So you got to figure out how to tap into what you in control of it. You can always turn it off and subscribe to the world that's always going to be outside. So that's the way I advise. Why I asked, did y'all have anybody that you had to pipe yourself down from going to swing on? Because they said something about, he's not worth the jersey that his name is printed on. Udonis Haslem never done anything creative in his life. I mean, look at him on the block. He's garbage. We need to get him out of here. We can get a good second round pick. And you sitting there at the house like, man, who the is Ferris Bueller talking to? You know what I mean? It's crazy. It's crazy that, man, like, y'all under a lot of pressure as athletes, but I wonder if it changes once you get into media. Like, because of that, you feel like, man, I can't say what I would normally say because I understand I don't want to hurt this dude's feelings because I know he had a bad game. Or
anybody I know that with me know that I'm gonna shoot it straight. And if you mad at me for being honest, then that you probably ain't with me the way I think you do. Because I'm honest with you anyway. Before I said it on TV, I probably already told you.
I
already told you how I felt. You done heard me say that
respectable.
before. You know what I'm saying?
The only time that becomes a real issue is around playoff time anyways. That's where the sensitivity ramps up.
But what I
most
don't do,
hoopers
why?
know
Because the losses hurt worse.
Yeah, I mean, but more and everything's magnetized, right? Like they magnify everything. But like during the season, if you're a real hooper, you knew you was sorry as that night anyways. You don't need someone to tell you.
what I don't
But in
do
the
is
playoffs, you don't like that.
I don't piggyback on.
Yeah.
I don't piggyback on because the hot topic is now Bronny. So everybody want to piggyback on
man.
Everybody want to piggyback on the growth and the maturation of Bronny.
I
don't piggyback on that, man. Get a kid a chance.
I am.
Let him grow. Let him do what he got to do.
I'm a piggyback off. You is haters to his crowd. You people are haters. Because it makes no sense. It makes no sense that you're mad that nepotism is in play for us. I think that's what it is. When you see, we get such a bad stigma as black men for not being fathers across the board. That's why I never understood the discontent for the Ball family. It's like, man, this black man raised 3 boys and sent them all into being successful, and you mad because he talking like he talking. It's like, well, yeah, man, you don't brag, you don't be. Nah, you do brag. LeBron James has been the since he was in the 3rd grade, and he has made it to where he is able to, even if it was straight nepotism and he's not good enough, so what? That's what you do it for. Look at how many people have came before us that never got the opportunity to be able to utilize their namesake for their children, no matter how big their namesake was. They never got the opportunity to be able to implement their child into a space based off of the work that they've done. It don't matter who it is. You can't name too many people who have just made it so big that they had just been able to say, all right, man, I want my son on this team, and they be good enough to be able to make that happen. Man, that's a blessing. That is a blessing that even if that was the case, which is not, I don't care how bad you think Bronny is, it's still good enough to be playing in the NBA.
He's gonna get better.
I'm
He's gonna get better.
I'm gonna give you in 2 ways. First of all, what you said there, Bronny's first unbelievable kid, and he's good at basketball.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, obviously his numbers and what he did at USC does not translate into what the people are saying, but he's good at basketball. He's going to be good at basketball. The second thing is, LeBron James, first of all, they have max contract. If a team could give him $1 billion right now, they give him $1 billion.
Right.
So if they're going to give his son an extra $8 million to keep Bron there, that's what you should. That's a good
Yeah,
business
that's
move.
what I'm saying. Like, I don't understand what it's so many that didn't have their daddy hating. It's like, bro, holler at your father. Don't be mad because you didn't get the benefit of nepotism. Like, nepotism is something that we didn't get to utilize in our community. So I love to see
We
it.
own.
I love all that dope money, all of that. You don't own nothing. Like, you don't have anything. So that legacy, just the legacy of the name, man, you working for the picture over the fireplace out here. Because eventually you going to be gone. But that picture over the fireplace is going to be like, yeah, you see granddad, man, granddad did it. And that's the way that it's supposed to be. Like, I've been seeing all of the, hey, well, he ain't good enough. He ain't this and that. No, nigga, you're not good enough. You're not good enough. That's who's not good enough. You're like, well, he's taking an opportunity from a player who deserved it. Who? Who did he take the opportunity from? Who say the name of your cousin? Like, stop it, man. Yeah, man, my cousin Roy, man, they was supposed to go to the league. He was gonna get drafted, but they made Bronny a Laker, man. He ain't get a chance to. Man, stop it, man. Let that man be as great as he has been. And I don't understand the hate that Bron get, man. The way that man has never been in any type of public, under any type of scrutiny. And he's literally all the way at the top of the mountain. It has been probably since what would you say Bron became the man in the NBA? How many years?
First year, basically second year
been
in
in
the
the
league.
league.
So 2000,
First, second year, 2003, 2004. So 20 plus years, this man has been, I'm talking about the biggest name in basketball, and you ain't never seen him nowhere drunk. You ain't never seen him with no random women in public. You ain't never heard about his name being in nothing. He ain't signed no rappers. He ain't did none of that. He's done nothing but be an upstanding and amazing. And then it's like you get to a point where this man has made it to where he's created a lane for his children to be able to follow in his footsteps based on his work, even if and I don't think that's what it is. I'm not saying that's what it is, but even if that was what it was, how's that not celebrated, man? We backwards, man. Not your crowd. You guys. I don't know what you do, but us, man, we backwards, man.
And he's been involved in that. I mean, obviously he's super busy and he's been the best player on the planet for 20-some years, but he's super involved in his kids' lives too. And he's been grooming that shit forever.
People talk
he's an
about
unbelievable dad.
Numbers and what he averaged in college and what he averaging right now in summer league. It's what people don't understand is when you come into the NBA from college as a rookie or second round or whatever, they don't really want you to score. They got LeBron, they got AD, they got D-Lo, they got all these guys. Unless you were one of those guys where you was like number 1 or number 2. And
and even then, you see how they look when they first get in the league. I know y'all remember Kobe shooting the air balls. Like, they show that all the time. Like, you know what I mean? You got to learn your way into the game.
Can you help us win?
Yeah,
Can you guard somebody? Can you retain information? Can you run a play and we ain't got to stop and go over it again because your dumb ass can't keep up? That's
had you in Miami all them extra years. Get your dumb ass off. Hey, turn the cameras off. Hey. You gonna have to get the out of here with that stupid ass shit, man. My knees hurt, man. Stop making me run this play over and over again.
Like that.
And the reality of the situation is there's not one team that drafted in the second round this year that thinks he's going to be a rotational guy anyways. Let's be honest.
Exactly.
You got action over
people
there.
waving at me. Yeah, you know what I mean? They watching.
We got fans out there, so before we let you go, we got to ask a few fan questions.
Oh, no problem.
Most memorable Wildn Out moment.
Oh, my God.
I can tell you mine.
Oh,
Before
man.
you go.
Yeah, please.
Chico. Let's bring it back. Wild Style
is looking kind of whack.
You and Carlos go do y'all thing.
You must be crazy.
Yeah.
Your lady is having my baby. Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Man, you know what? It's gonna sound crazy because that's like asking me what's your favorite locker room moment. You know, because when you're on the other side of it, you see all of it.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to just pick from, okay, I do this. I give you both. I pick from the on-screen and just the totality. My favorite on-screen moment for myself is the old school battle when we did you know what? I got to take that back because this topped it. When Los came back, when they had took Los off the show and brought him back, that episode was my favorite episode that we ever shot because it was true improv. It was real, like, to give a little bit of the background, it's all good. Some people
joke about that.
Some people have help. You know what I mean? Some people don't. You know what I mean? Some people don't, but the help is there. They practice, you know what I mean? It's an improvisational show, but some people you gotta, like you said, okay, you're gonna go out, you're gonna say pick up and kill it and kill it and kill it, and then you're gonna say that, people need that. When Los came back, after they bought him out like in a hoodie with a mask on. When they took the mask off and we seen him in Nick went to commercial, myself, E-Man, Fly, who else? Conceited, Hip. We was like, hey, whoever don't do this, sit down. Don't even get up. Don't get up. You get up here, it's different. This episode is different. We ain't doing all of whatever they said we about to do. Scratch that. So if you can't come up with something immediately, watch. Just sit down and watch. And that's exactly what happened. That's the one with Nick Brother Shoes and, you know what I mean? That's that episode. Like, so I'm talking about that episode was so fun because it was 100% improv because we took over. Like, we completely took over. So I say that's my favorite on screen. All screen, man, I wish that they could come out with an uncut version of Wildn Out, man. Oh, my God. Listen, man, there would be a 10-minute reel of Corey Holcomb, Slim. Let me tell you something, man.
And he don't got no filter.
Let me tell you something, man.
Corey Holcomb say anything.
Let me tell you something,
sick
man.
people. He don't give a
Let me tell you something.
He'll mess
Let me
with sick
tell you
people.
something about that dude, man. I love Corey, man. Corey is my OG, man. He the first person to ever take me on the road and pay me for a show. Man, I love Corey. But I'm going to tell you, man, how he always know he had an audience with me, too. Like, I'm goofy, and I love to laugh, and I'm always going to entertain you when you come with the dumb shit. You always got an ear with me. So I won't say who it was, but just to go to show you, I won't say this, man. We in rehearsal, and this is my first season of Wildn Out. This is when All Gold Everything was the popping song, right? And I'm standing beside, we doing the placement. Trinidad James. We doing the placements for the first shot. Like when you come in, they was placing everybody. So I'm standing beside this Wildn Out girl, and the song is playing, and Corey walks into rehearsal late, walked straight up to me and was like, Chico. I said, what? He said, I'm this bitch raw. All in her jaw. She pushed it down and tried to talk and said, Bruh, I'm like, bro, what the I died, lad. What do you mean? I had to run away. I'm like, bro, what the is wrong with you, man? They said, I'm like, bro, what? I didn't say hello or nothing. Just walked straight up singing that shit. Like, so the behind the scenes would be what I would want the people to see, because the stuff that happens when we not filming, like the backstage and the green room and the jokes that get cut, oh my God, man. We need to come out with an unfiltered version of that show, because boy, man.
Corey Holcomb is hilarious.
Don't don't
he
give
no filter,
man,
cancel
nothing.
culture, what? My
Not
ass,
at all.
cancel
He don't
what?
give whatever.
He don't
Just
give
whatever. And he been
as long
like
as you
that.
laughing, as long as he making people
been
laugh.
like that. So yeah, I would say that.
You worry about that? You worry about the cancel? I want to cut you off.
Nah,
Do you worry about getting canceled when you think about your jokes and you think about what you worry about what I shouldn't say?
As long as I'm not operating in maliciousness, you can feel however you want to feel about my truth.
Okay.
It's your right. It's you entitled to your opinion, just like I'm entitled not to give a about it. As long as I feel like if I'm doing something malicious, then that's different. If I'm maliciously trying to hurt somebody's feelings, then I think that's the energy that would create the backlash that you get when you just saying stuff for shock value and you really don't have any attachment or it doesn't mean anything to you what you're saying. Everything I talk about on stage means something to me. These are my opinions. These are my thoughts. This is my vantage point on the world. So if you don't like it, you're entitled to that. But and of course you gotta be careful with what you say these days because you gotta respect that the times have changed. It ain't the way it was back in the day. You can't, and Living Color wouldn't be able to come on TV now. You know what I'm saying?
No.
And you gotta respect that. But still, even in towing the line, you gotta know that, man, you can't stray too far away from your truth because then who are you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People aren't getting the true essence of who you are as an entertainer. So I don't worry about it. Of course, I'm cognitive and mindful of the fact that you have to be strategic about certain words you can't say now but then like I said, if I did that would be me being malicious. I know it's no need for me to say this, that, and the third. So if I just do that means I'm trying to get some type of shock value to go viral. And I don't operate like that. So I don't really worry about it.
That ain't it.
In what ways did Chocolate City mold you to be hilarious? We want stories, big dog. That's what you asked.
Oh, man, that's somebody from D.C.
Chocolate City,
man.
It's white chocolate chip city.
It's white chocolate chip city now. It's ridiculous, man. The gentrification is crazy. It's so crazy seeing your crowd walk around.
In PG County.
They everywhere now. I'm talking about in the city. They walk around with dogs I have never seen before. I'm like,
you say dogs you never seen before.
Like, what that sound like a drink. That's crazy. But man, the city is everything to me, man. I am in walking embodiment of Washington, D.C. Like, that's why I'm so enthused by cultures other places because I'm so entrenched in my own that I can understand from a vantage point that, especially with our crowd, we the same everywhere. The same stuff is going on in every city you go to. The script is the same. The characters might change a little bit, what they look like, how they dress, how they talk, the accents and all that. But the things that are going on in these environments are exactly the same. So, me growing up in the city, you had to be willing to, go at it in regards to getting Joan on. We call it Joning, but it don't matter who you were. You could have had the flyest outfit on in the world, but you gonna walk in that homeroom and somebody gonna point out something that, hey, man, I bet your mother had to do a lot of stroking to get you that sweatsuit last night. Boy, your mama probably couldn't even go to work this morning. Boy, Mr. Charles came over there and got you Mr. Charles got you them Jordan Slim. Ain't no way you just got that. What your mother did to get you that. Now you the flies mad. So, that right there is would embody me being okay with not only walking in my own skin and being comfortable and being able to say, I don't care what you think about me, but also being able to fire back with just as much veracity as people give you. And also, I come from a city that's, it was real rough growing up. DC it still is in a lot of ways, but it was a real war zone in my era coming up. And I was amongst that every day. So for me to be an example of what it can look like if you take the road less traveled is something that is the biggest thing for me. Like, I love being a representation of my city so people who come from where I come from can look and say, hey, man, it's something greater for me than what I see in these, 4 quadrants of this city. I remember when it changed for me, when my uncle lost his life in 2002. I never forget, I watched him pass away. I walked out the hospital. And when I get out in front of Howard University Hospital, everything was still moving. All right, don't park right here. All right, baby, I'll holler at you, baby. All right, man, And I'm like, my world is destroyed. But the world is going to spin regardless of what I got going on. So at that point, I realized it's up to me to take my world and make the best of it. But I still come from this place. So I'm just, a walking representation of the city. So everything that I do is the embodiment in some way, shape, or form of Washington, D.C.
I got one question real quick. There was a 3-story club. When we used to land in D.C., we used to drop our drop our bags, go to dinner, and we used to go to this club. It was like 3 stories.
Love.
Yeah,
there you go.
Man.
Love. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, all the way.
Yeah.
I know you probably got some stories from in there.
No,
Were
no,
my people-
I
were
don't,
my
I don't know
people
what
in
you're
there?
talking about. I just used
Were
to-
my people in there?
Oh yeah, they went in there.
Oh.
They went in there. Excuse me, sir, that'll be $25.
They was the valet. They was the valet.
$25,
Y'all
sir.
some motherfuckers.
Yeah. They was definitely in there, man. Any you got any more? That was the last one.
No, I got one more for you
Okay.
because you're on tour right now. What city has the best comedy spots to perform in?
Woo. Personally, I'll give you my couple of my favorite cities to perform in: Detroit, Michigan, Chicago, Illinois, Memphis, Tennessee,
Hey, stand up.
Cleveland, Ohio, Miami, Florida.
It is.
Florida in general. Florida in general, man. Listen, let me tell you something about Florida. Florida is the realest in America. And I'm going to tell you why. Because don't nobody talk to white people the way Florida talk to white people. I have in America. There's nowhere else. I never forget.
Except for you, Kill. I love you.
I'm at the gas station and the dude was in one of them donks bumping. I never he was what was that that JT Money.
Which one? Whole problems ain't no problems.
Yeah, there you go.
Whole problems ain't no
There you
problems.
go.
Don't hate the game, boy. That ain't gonna solve them. Yo, you need to let that go. Just like you got it, you can find another hoe.
Right,
Yeah.
knocking.
Hey.
White man comes up to him and was like, "Hey man, I got my kids in the car. You mind turning that down?" He was like, "You pussy ass cracker, let me up, cracker." Talking about
Hey,
cracker, I knock your head loose, cracker. You mind your
had
goddamn
goals
business,
in his
cracker.
mouth?
Yeah, but with the dreads that look
Wicks.
like Olive Garden bread. I'm like, oh, and I'm standing there like, man, you know he can hear you, bruh. Like you tripping.
Chico, that sounded like when I moved into the dorms. With
For
him.
real?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's exactly how he talked to me.
I ain't never talked to
said,
him like that, but I
"God
did
damn."
used to talk like that. But-
You
Just
just
tell
call him a cracker. You was
Well,
like,
I
what's
didn't
up with
call
your
him.
cracker?
Listen, let me tell you something.
Hey,
When
you
I
crazy.
listen,
Cracker?
Man, I didn't call
man,
him
you the
that.
coldest cracker in the goddamn game, South Dakota. Hell yeah, anybody with you, man, I got you on the J, on the G, real cracker ass crazy. Ain't nobody gonna my cracker. Hey, your girl, take it like a player. You can find another hoe. You heard what JT Money said.
Hey.
All the way, man.
man, that's
Brought
crazy.
back memories.
Y'all had a show at the Hard Rock not too long ago. Y'all
Yeah,
did something at the
yeah,
Hard Rock.
yeah,
I
we
was out
did.
of town because if I was in town,
you'd have
me
been
and
there.
my
All the
wife,
way,
we
man.
wanted
You gotta,
to go.
Y'all got to
missed
come.
it.
We going to set it up, man. Mike, I know it might be a little bit more difficult for you because of your crowd and you being an agent,
I'm
but
all
you
in
are
that.
welcome.
I'm all in
And
that.
I'm
UD,
there.
man, we got to get you
I'ma
on the
bring-
85
I'ma bring-
South
I'ma bring
Show,
a
man.
few
We
things
big
through for
fans.
y'all.
We big fans, big fans, man. I thank y'all. And I got an agent question for you
Yeah.
real quick. Like, you know what I mean? You hear a lot of the talk about, you know, how agents are shiesty and all of that.
Yeah.
Is that the reason why you got into it to kind of change the narrative?
No, I just think that there's an opening for the players that have been through it, right? Like that's I think a big advantage for us on the for me on the agency side. It's like everything they're going through, I lived, you know, for 17 seasons, the ups and downs, everything that goes through it. So like just making sure you build a team that checks every box. But there's some shiesty that goes on. There's no question. It's a snaky world, but if you can be real and almost like what we talk about, you can be real with them. You can be real with them. And that's how I live.
And I'm gonna help him out too. He's making $300-400 million, and he get 4%.
Hey man, Chico.
There
Thanks
it is.
Chico. Thanks for
There
coming
it
in,
is.
man.
Well, listen.
There it is. You know,
I am
making
now-
$400 million, and Mike taking 4%.
I am now
That's why he
officially
doing it.
a member of his crowd. Matter of fact, I'm gonna go ahead and just scoot my chair away from you now. What is this? What is
That's
this?
it. This is
What
peasantry
what
over here. This is peasantry over here.
What is this? We are South Dakotans. That's what it is. We are South Dakota. I am a colonel. That's what it is. 4%. I take 0.2%.
Me too.
You and me.
Me too.
Udonis, man, stop being a pussy ass.
Anthony Jamal
Being a
Bean.
pussy ass cracker, Mike. Come on, give us more than $200, baby. You come on, man.
And we are out of here, man.
Yeah.
Be on tour. Tap in. Appreciate y'all.
Show.
Bye.